are we going to talk about this young man who collapsed yesterday during the...
Well, we don't know much, right? We do know that Dr. Sanjay Gupta was on CNN, and he gave a reason why this young man had this incident. I don't believe that he's actually physically examined this person, so I'm not sure why he came to that conclusion. But there is a possibility that on impact, that there's something that happens if someone gets hit at the exact right time, and if they get hit on the heart at the exact right time, that it can stop the heart.
I think we can do better than that.
Okay.
I think we can say cardiologists, including Peter McCullough, have looked at the footage, and they believe that this is exactly what happened, right? That there is this moment in the heart's rhythm in which, in my mind, it's like if you had an explosion in in the cylinder of an internal combustion engine, as the piston was coming up to the top, it would stop it dead rather than exploding at the right moment and driving it back down, right? So there's some moment of vulnerability, and a hard enough hit can stop the heart. And so anyway, Peter McCullough and others have looked at this tape and said that appears to be what happened. But as with so I'm sorry, I'm not a football fan, so I didn't know this young man's name before this incident yesterday.
Jamie, do you know his name?
Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin. So I don't know how well you know him. I looked at him, and I would just say, in having this discussion, I think it's really important. My impression in looking at what evidence there was about him online is that this was an unusually good kid. Not only extremely talented as an athlete, but also just super decent. And the fact that we are talking about it, I don't want to detract from the fact that he's fighting for his life, and that's true, and we should be rooting for him irrespective of what has happened here. This is somebody who deserves to have a long life ahead of him.
We don't know.
And
so it is possible that someone could get hit in that regard, and it could cause that thing to happen. And it has happened before, particularly with people getting hit in the chest with fastballs, right?
Right. But what needs to be done is a proper differential diagnosis in which all of the contributing factors are found. The other thing we can say, in a brief look this morning, I found that nobody has died on a football field in the NFL in 50 years. Now, maybe that's wrong, but that's certainly the evidence I found in a couple of places. This is a very rare event. Now, obviously, he's still alive. So,
have people had heart attacks in football games previously? I know they've had heart attacks playing soccer before. People have had that.
Yeah, I can't.
Soccer is a particularly difficult sport in terms of your cardiovascular function.
Right, because
those guys are in fucking insane shape because you have to be. The amount of strain, they're sprinting. I went to see the Austin has a soccer league, and I went to see it live, and I was really impressed. I was, first of all, impressed, but these guys have fucking thoroughbred legs. I mean, they are in insane shape, and just the demand, as a person who works out, watching the demand that's required to the body to be able to perform that way, sprinting constantly. And soccer, my friend Eddie, who is one of the owners of the local soccer team, he was explaining to me that one of the reasons why it's not good for television in America is because they don't take breaks.
Right.
They don't. It's not like, you have a stop. We'll be right back with, first down, and we'll be back with commercials, and you can, Pizza Hut and all that shit. You play your commercials and then you come back. I mean, that's how you fund television. You need commercials. But soccer just goes on and on and on. I mean,
yeah, it's in some ways, I'm not an expert in this, but it seems like it's the worst case scenario because, basketball is full of motion in a way that football isn't, but it's a smaller court.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, so much smaller.
So there's a lot less distance to run.
And there's timeouts. There's just like things that happen where you get little breaks.
Right.
Soccer players have to be in incredible shape.
Yeah. And that means that the range of conditions over which their hearts have to be tolerant is very high. And so, again, it's crazy that we are having to deal at the level of anecdote with this pattern or lack of a pattern. Maybe it's not a pattern, but it certainly does seem that we see footage of people collapsing on what they would call the football pitch
Yeah.
in Europe. Well, what is that, right? So in any case, I worry that in cases in the last couple years where somebody has famously suffered a heart attack in particular, or stroke or something like this, that there seems to be some desire not to even open the possibility of what may have caused it, and presumably that's because people are being told it is vitally important that we not fuel vaccine hesitancy because it's essential to protecting the vulnerable and ending the pandemic. And at this point, hopefully we're over that. Hopefully the point is actually, you know what? We need to know what the risk-benefit analysis is for a person taking this. Right? It's essential that we find out.
Yeah. It's crazy that this is where you have this discussion.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. This is the wrong way to do it. But the problem is, you know what you really need? A university, you know, and preferably dozens of them studying questions like this. They know how to do it.
From the jump.
Right.
From the jump. Being on it objectively from the jump, analyzing all the data and analyzing it without bias at all.
Right, because of course we have an interest in finding out what it is that's in the data, what the patterns mean. And then we ought to have a vital press corps looking out for corruption that would prevent universities from pursuing these things properly.
Yeah.
Right, and it's amazing to me that it's now 2023 and we have none of this, right?